Okay, we'd like to start the meeting, so we're going to call the meeting to order. All right, we're going to start off with the Pledge of Allegiance, which you all please rise. I pledge allegiance
to the flag of the United States of America and to the republic for which it stands, one nation, under God, indivisible, with liberty and justice for all.
If you could remain standing for 1 second for a moment of silence for our recently departed residents, friends, and neighbors. Moment of silence, please. Thank you. We'll now do the roll call.
Michael Messina.
Present.
Barbara Wells. Present. Mary Adler. Present. Carol Waterworth. Here. And Whitman. Absent.
Thank you. I'm seeking a motion for the approval of the June 15, 2023 open board meetings. Need someone to first that motion? Carol, thank you for firsting.
Second.
Barbara seconds. The minutes have been officially approved. Okay, we have guests here today.
You need to do a vote,
A vote for what, my friend?
a vote on the motion that you.
I just did approve it. The motion was, okay.
All in favor?
All in favor of accepting the minutes, say aye, please. Aye. Any opposed? No opposed? The motion of accepting the minutes has passed. Thank you.
You're welcome, sir.
Okay, we have guests here today. We have representatives from Thomas River Police Department. Let's get the elephant out of the room. Recently, something has happened in our development, and we felt it necessary to get the experts in here to explain and give a little education to us. So we're going to be handing the meeting over to.
Sure.
Okay.
I've never been called an expert before, but I'll take it. So thank you for having us. They contacted us earlier in the week and asked if we can come and attend this meeting because there's a lot of rumors going on. We dropped everything, and here we are. So I brought Detective Carey with me, who is an expert, more than I am. So the both of us are going to be here to kind of quell your fears of what's going on. Things happen in communities like this, and usually they are relatively minor in nature, and then the telephone game starts, and then there's people being murdered in here, all right? So Detective Carey did me a favor and ran the crime statistics in our community here, our gated community, in the last 4 months, okay? And it's good, all right? So I don't know what you've heard, but these are the facts. So whatever you heard from your friend or your neighbor are not facts, these are facts. So we did have some car burglaries in the community. It's going to happen. You have landscapers in here. You have friends who are coming to visit people in here. You may have people trying to come over the fence. So it's going to happen. Even though you're in a gated community, you are more protected than other communities that are not gated, but it doesn't mean that you should feel like you're invincible and that nothing is going to happen to you, because that is not reality. There's a couple that occurred. So on July 6th at 2 o'clock in the morning, there was a suspicious vehicle that was called in, some suspicious people. It ended up just being two friends who knew each other who were out at 2 o'clock in the morning. But the police responded. We respond 24/7, and we determined that that particular call was not criminal in nature, all right? On July 12th and the 13th, so July 12th at 8 o'clock at night, and then the 13th at 7:30 in the morning, there were burglaries to unlocked vehicles. All right. So again, you're in this community, you feel safe, and so you feel that it's not necessary to lock your cars. So that is being investigated by the detectives. I don't believe we have any suspects or anything like that. We'll get to that in a second on how you can protect yourself. But right now, those were two car burglaries to unlocked vehicles. We have this all over town. There are people who are down on their luck. Would you like to say something to that?
That's actually only one.
Oh, it's one. I'm sorry.
That's my fault, I wasn't clear enough in my times. That's the time frame that the car was broken into between those hours. That one wasn't captured on video. The good lieutenant will inform you. I guess he's gonna let me run with it.
He's the expert.
Never accept the microphone when somebody offers it to you. So on the 12th, between 8 p.m. and 7:30, thank you, there was an unlocked vehicle and someone went into it and items were taken. That was, again, not captured on video. On the 13th, this is probably the same night, because the other was the 12th into the 13th. This is the 13th. So it's probably the same person going through, looking for unlocked vehicles. There was an attempt, it was caught on a Ring doorbell. The person attempted to get into the car, found it was locked, and moved right on, which is what we see in all the Ring video and surveillance video that's out there that I see on a regular basis. That's what we see. If your car is locked, they try and get in and they move in. Now, I'm not going to tell you I've never seen a video where somebody's broken out a window. It happens, but it's very rare because the people that are out there doing this, if they break a window, they know there's a chance somebody's going to hear them and they're going to turn a light on and their night is over and there's no more proceeds. So what they're looking for is unlocked vehicles. They're in, they're out of the car quickly, they don't want confrontation, they just want to get in and get what they can. And like I said, the overwhelming majority of video we see, if the car is locked, they're moving on, because it's just not worth their trouble. So you have one attempt and one successful burglary in the same night. So the best advice I can give is keep your car doors locked. I know it's hard sometimes, you're loading groceries out, you forget. I've done it myself, where you hit the remote twice, and you think you locked it and unlocked, and you go out later and find it. So just be cautious, double check it when you think of it. Don't keep valuables in your cars, because obviously if they get into your car, they're going to take the valuables. Like I said, the incidents in which people smash car windows is just super rare. One, it creates noise, which means they might get caught. Two, there's a risk of them cutting themselves and leaving blood behind. If we swab it, get the blood, send it to the lab, we could get their DNA, they get caught that way. So they're looking for unlocked cars the same way all the time.
Thank you for the clarification, I appreciate it. So, before I came here, I just got off the phone with a resident. I'm in community affairs, lieutenant in charge of community affairs. I got off the phone with a resident of St. Regis Court, which is off of Church Road. And they had a burglary to their car, so before I called them, I went and got the facts, right? So we're very big on statistics and on facts. And so I found out as I was talking to this person that there were two burglaries on that night. The first was the neighbor. Their car was locked, and they tried the door handle, and they went to her car, which was unlocked, and they got into there. She wants a gate at the front of St. Regis and different things, but I said this most likely would have been prevented if you had locked your door. So I echo the suggestions of Detective Carey, which I kind of started with, which is lock your doors, right? And so this community here has to look out for each other. By show of hands, how many have a camera on the front of your house? Okay, so few. So when I come to meetings like this, people have birthdays and there's holidays and things that come up, and you have friends and family that are like, you have everything. Like, what do you need? A camera. Camera is not just for you, it's for your neighbors, and more specifically, it's for the police. It helps us catch the bad guys, right? Because they're out there. And so, if nothing else, we can get a license plate, we can get, the best thing would be to get the face of the suspect, but we can get a time frame of when these things happen. And so, having that is paramount. It really, really is an important thing. Again, we're going to say it 1,000 times, but just locking your doors, right? Locking your doors. If you have a MacBook on your passenger seat and you're at the mall, somebody may smash your window, all right? When you're shopping around Christmas time, Don't leave all of your valuables in there. Just general safety things, just because I was thinking of it. I was at Stop and Shop yesterday, and I'm going down the aisle, and there is a lady that's getting something from the top, and her pocketbook is right there. And it's right in her shopping cart. And I start the conversation that I'm a police officer, so I don't sound that weird, even though I could be lying. But I'm like, listen, I'm a police officer, like, don't do that, right? Everything is right there. It's so easy for me to just grab and go, right? So that's something that's protective. But this community here, it's great to see so many people out, and you're out probably because you care about being here. You want it to be as safe as possible. You want to be as active as possible, be involved in things, but you have to help each other out. And so what that means is, I'm sure that there are things that go on that you don't tell the police about because you don't want to bother anybody, right? Maybe you saw somebody walking down the street at 2 o'clock in the morning, but you're like, I'm sure, we're here 24/7, right? A lot of times we're having coffee and we were looking for something to do, right? And so call us, and we will go out and investigate that person, because maybe they are somebody who just broke into a car, or they are looking to break into a car, and you're helping us out, right? By calling in those suspicious people. If there's just something that doesn't seem right to you, and you're not reporting someone because of the color of their skin or because of their religion or anything like that, you're reporting their behaviors and the way that they're acting. It's kind of like the hairs on the back of your neck are standing up, and you're like, something's just not right about this. Call us. That's exactly why we're here, all right? So those are the facts. There are crimes that happen in here, right? There might even be somebody in here. They might have been like a criminal their whole life, and they want to come in here and steal from all of you. They could be here. They could be sitting up here, maybe. I don't know. Could be.
I'm very
Touche.
sure.
So who has a question? Come on up, give me a question, raise your hand. If you have anything for the Township Police Department.
Over here, right here.
Oh, we have one. I guess I'll give you the mic.
Mine is not a question, it's a reminder. I'm guilty sometimes of, I don't think this is on.
You have to actually talk into, hold it closer to you,
Okay,
like this.
thank you. Okay, anyway, mine is not a question. I am guilty of going out to do something in the garage at night, maybe doing the garbage. We have a 2-car garage, and sometimes I press the button as I go in the house to put the garage door down. I've actually pressed the wrong one and didn't look. So you want to make sure your garage doors are down too, because, boy, they could have walked away with things from us many times.
We're going to call that Carol's tip of the day. Who else?
Can you give us a general description of where this theft took place? Not necessarily on the road, but in the area of Lake Bridge.
I will tell you West Ashfield and Meadow Lake. All right, those are the specific streets, but they could have been any street in here, quite frankly, right? But those 2 particular incidents, those are the streets that they occurred on. Anyone else? Give me a hard question. Any push-ups can I do? Yes, sir.
All the lawsuits go on. Is New Jersey a carry state? Where you gonna commit to carry?
Right now, I figured it'd be a gun question, right? So you legally can come to the Toms River Police Department if you are a Toms River resident, and you can apply to purchase a firearm, right? You also can make an application to carry that firearm on you. There are a lot of restrictions on where you can and cannot carry that, but that is 100% true and legal in New Jersey, that you can make an application and be approved if you are not a criminal or a crazy person, that you can carry a gun. So yes, the answer is yes. Yes, sir.
I assume that these 2 burglaries occurred on the driveway of the unlocked cars? Or am I wrong?
He is making an assumption of the crimes. I don't know if Detective Carey has researched it. Yes. So the assumption was that the cars were parked in the driveway and the suspect came up into the driveway, and my expert detective has confirmed that and said you are correct that the vehicles were in the driveway. Did you have a follow-up?
I do. Can anyone explain to me why, when you have garages, the garage becomes a storage area for everything but your automobile?
All right, that's another topic. It's not for the police. I'm sure you don't have much storage. I have so much crap I gotta throw out that my wife keeps. Yes? Your question is, are houses getting broken into?
Statistics, like, I know you mentioned cars and have to.
For all of
houses getting broken into.
Okay, statistics, we did not run that, but off the top of your head, detective, do you know anything about house burglaries, expert?
House burglaries are like car burglaries, they're continually ongoing. It's something that affects every area of town, nice houses, not so nice houses. Many times we've sat with burglars in interviews and tried to figure out, you know, there's 3 equally beautiful houses on the street, why'd you pick that one? Sometimes there's a rhyme and reason, simple, obviously, you know, no cars in the driveway. I tried the back door and it was kind of flimsy, but a lot of times they have no explanation for why they chose a specific house. So I don't have statistics available. There are, like I said, it's something that people are out there trying to get into houses. Sometimes we see an uptick, sometimes we don't have that many. But I mean, that's Tom's River, that's New Jersey, that's nationwide. But we don't have anything recent in this community.
All right, I'll get to other questions in a second, but I would be remiss to not be in front of a room full of people here and tell you that every single day our detectives are investigating people who have been scammed or victims of fraud. So my takeaway for that is be suspicious of everything and don't trust anybody. Because you all probably have been going through your lives being very trusting people. But in 2023, you gotta throw that out the window. And I make a joke of it, but I'm very serious about it, right? You can't trust people. People that are gonna come to your door, people that are gonna call you on the phone, people that are gonna email you. It's all a scam, and everyone's trying to scam you and get your money. And you all probably have a pretty good nest egg that's saved, right? And they want it. And so if someone calls you, don't answer the phone. I'm not kidding, right? Everyone has, well, not everyone. If you have a cell phone and it doesn't come up as Mike, Bob, Rita, don't answer it, right? Because it's a scam. And people are very, very good once they get you on the phone. So if it rings, let it go to voicemail. Nothing is that urgent or important. Let it go to voicemail because they're gonna get you on the phone and they're gonna steal thousands of dollars from you. If you get an email about anything, it's a scam. Like, don't believe anything with emails. Get the number for whatever it is, your credit card company, a utility, and give them a call on a number you know. Don't listen to a message and say, give me a call at this number, 1-800, it's a scam number, right? Don't do it. They can even spoof the numbers that are coming in. They're so good at scamming, and this AI is gonna put it on a whole different level. But again, I would just be remiss to not just warn everyone in this room that am I being untruthful? Every single day people are being scammed of thousands of dollars, and it hurts my heart, and I don't know how people put their heads down on the pillow at night. But please don't get scammed. Don't trust anybody. All right? Who else had a question? Yes, sir.
How often does the police department control this issue?
Great question. I don't know. All right? I can find out for you, but so the town is split. The mainland is split into 8 different quadrants. And so we have 1 or 2 officers assigned to each quadrant, right? So this goes from the tracks down to Bay Avenue up to Old Freehold, 70 there. So it's a very, very big area, but our officers are encouraged to come into even the gated communities and drive around, right? And make their presence known. And that is something that is expected of our patrol officers, but I'll try and get that answer for you, because a lot of times they'll call out an area check as they come in. They're like, hey, I'm at Lake Ridge. If you need me, I'm going to be driving around here, kind of waving the flag. But our officers are encouraged to come frequently. Yes, sir.
I live on Spring Hill Drive, and my car was, I guess, broken.
He lives on Spring Hill Drive, and your car was broken into. When was that?
It was on that same day. And we made a report with the, with the police. And I'm not sure why.
Okay. Detective Carey screwed up. I'm just kidding.
I will double check on that. My best guess at what happened is that when I searched, I didn't search. The easiest way for me to search in the computer is to do like what we call a wildcard, which means you type in an asterisk, Lake Ridge, and then another asterisk. And what that does is that pulls up everything that's come up in Lake Ridge in the time frame you're looking for, or the crime category you're looking for. So I'm thinking one of two things happened. Either somehow the address went in and didn't attach Lake Ridge to the address, which wouldn't have pulled it up when I searched for it, or it may have been entered in some other way than a burglary. Sometimes we all make mistakes. An officer may have put it in as a theft instead of a burglary, and that wouldn't have popped up for what I was looking for. So I apologize for the oversight. I will go back and double check that. And the only other, I wanted to add one more thing that I forgot to add when I was speaking earlier. This isn't unique to here. Back in, well, we're still in July, sorry. In July, Lakewood and some of their gated communities also had car burglaries. So it's not, like the lieutenant said, there's not an invincible fence around the development. It's happening in all developments.
It's happening nationwide.
Yes, ma'am.
I have lights that stay on all night long around the house, the front, the garage, the front door, the patio. Is it better to have that, or is that just helping them to see what they're doing?
Your electric company probably likes it. So we talk about something that is called target hardening, right? And target hardening is your house is a target for criminals. And so we want to do as much as we can to protect that house. And so we talk about it more of non-gated communities, because you have landscapers here that pretty much keep things really, really nice. But like, let's talk about bushes in the front of the house. If you have a big bush that's in the front of one of your windows, and someone can go and hide behind it quickly, and the cars don't see them, then they can gain access to your house and no one's seeing it, right? Cameras, I talked about that. Lights are fantastic. Right? And so to have them on all the time, I'm going to tell you, if I'm breaking into houses, I'm going to go to the darker houses. I'm not saying that something that's lit up is not going to have a criminal go to it, but as Detective Carey said, they're looking for the path of least resistance. Most criminals are wimps. They really are. They don't want confrontation, right? The second that they have confrontation, they're going to run the other way. They're looking for houses, for the most part, houses that no one's home. They're knocking on the door, no one's answering, they're going around the back and they're breaking in, right? Cars, they don't want somebody in the car. You hear about carjackings and stuff. That's not the norm. Most people don't want anything to do with conflict because they're wimps, right? And so lighting up everything, to me, is a great idea. Now, motion lights is another good thing, because as you're walking around the house and the light goes on, was that motion, or did they see me and put the lights on? So, in my opinion, I think maybe, and I don't know, I'm not going to speak for the Toms River Police Department in giving this opinion, this is my opinion, but I would say motion light is probably a little better than lighting everything up, because again, as you're coming around, when that light goes on, it's like, oh my God, did they just see me? Right? But one way or another, having things lit up, hardening your house, your target, is very, very important. All right? Someone next to you had a question?
Marcia White from Deep River Lane.
Just this morning, as we were getting in our car, a neighbor from the Cary told us that we were one of the 7 break-ins. My husband's bike was stolen.
Okay.
There was another incident.
All right, so again, we're gonna check our fuzzy math, and there's gonna happen, right? And maybe it was an open garage door like we were talking about, but for one reason or another, it happened. And so there are people who want to steal your stuff, right? So let's look from July 20th forward. How are you gonna protect yourself? How are you gonna protect your neighbors? And when you see anything, maybe these people walking around, call the Thomasville Police Department, please. I encourage you to do it. I urge you to do it, and we are here to help. Yes, ma'am.
I just have a question. I've been getting my electric eye with the garage opener and the gate every night. So if they break into the car, they don't have access to my garage door opener or the gate opener.
Fantastic. I just did that last year, actually. I had my garage door opener inside my car, and then there was a detective that was like, why are you doing that? And I was like, I don't know, isn't that good? And they're like, no, they break into your car, and then they can have access to your garage. So, fantastic point. It is not encouraged, the police department does not encourage you to keep your garage door opener on your visor so you can open it up very quickly. At least, if you're going to do that, remember to take it in when you're not in the car.
That's what
Fantastic.
I just told people about that for the visor. They all want to put the visor, you know, the buttons on the visor. And I just told somebody, I come from LA. This is an everyday thing.
Sure. So, fantastic tip. We're going to put that into my notes for my next talk.
Bye.
In the back.
Do you support neighborhood watch groups?
Sure. So, we run a neighborhood watch at the Thomasville Police Department the first Thursday of every month. And so August 3rd, I think it is our next meeting. We have free coffee and donuts, which everyone loves. And we give a presentation that talks more and drills down more on the statistics that occurred the previous month. Sergeant Mooney has mug shots of all of the bad people in town and really the bad things that have happened in town. Some people don't want to know that. Some people are happy living under a rock and thinking that everything is fine. But some people are like, I want to see these people. I want to know if I go to the supermarket that I can identify this person, right? And so we run that neighborhood watch. As far as having your own neighborhood watch in the community here, we encourage it. However, it's been tried. And people are like, there are usually a couple of passionate people that are like, I want to do this. And so what is that? That is having one liaison or contact person that communicates with me, communicates with the police department. Then from there, it branches out, and you have maybe someone in charge of an entire block or street, and then a person in charge of something else, maybe 5 houses, right? And so the way that it works is it's able to funnel information in 2 ways. So when I have something that I need to tell the whole community about, I just need to tell my one person, my liaison, and then they get the information out to everybody else. If someone else has information they want to get to me, they funnel that to the liaison, who again has it come to me. And so, in theory, it is a great plan, but in reality, nobody wants to be involved. Nobody wants to be bothered, right? And so there's usually a couple of gung-ho people who are like, I'm ready to get this done. I talked to so-and-so and so-and-so, like, let's get it done. And I'm like, hey, let's go. Like, I'm ready for you. And then they come to find out that everyone's like, yeah, like, I don't want my name on it. I don't want to be involved. But if this community is different, and it has been mentioned in meetings here previously, and I've said the same thing, I'm all for it, and I'm all for it to help you accomplish that. But I can tell you from my experience that most people don't want to be involved.
Now, if we form the neighborhood watch group, what are the liabilities? If we found somebody breaking in or something, do we have to...
Okay, so let me define neighborhood watch. Neighborhood watch is not patrolling Lake Ridge. Is not what neighborhood watch is, right? Those are patrols. Chief Little is not in support of citizens patrolling their neighborhoods, right? What neighborhood watch is is you are sitting out on your porch and you are observing something going by and you are calling that into police, right? You are all this one network of watching things going on. It is, hey, I'm going away on vacation. All right, let's activate Neighborhood Watch. Let everybody know in the neighborhood that that house is going to be vacant. So if we see anybody pop up there, we know no one's supposed to be there. That is the spirit of Neighborhood Watch that the Toms River Police Department supports.
Okay, I'm kind of against it.
Okay, you're off.
Fine, thank you very much. He's throwing.
All right, I'm sure you have a long meeting. Thank you so much. I'll leave my contact information. Thank you for showing up. Appreciate it.
Okay, in terms of a quick summary, deterrence is what we're all looking for. By having your cars locked, by having lights that automatically go on, by doing the little things, putting up, having a guard at the gate, these are all deterrents. The problem is, the same night, they were also in neighboring communities right behind us. So when people want to get in, they get in. Our job is not to give them a foothold, to allow them to do any damage. And everyone, and I'm going to speak for myself, there's been times I've left my keys in my car outside during the day. I'm not doing that anymore, right? We just all have to be a little bit more diligent. Now, for the sake of time, the next step in the meeting would have been to go over old business, but I'm going to leave the old business portion to be discussed by the individual reports. So we're going to, I think we're going to move to motions to try to get this going, okay? Go to motions. So I'm going to describe this again. It was in the minutes from the last meeting. What we're doing now is motions. What is the purpose of a motion? I read the same thing last time to give an explanation. And I've had several conversations with people that ask, what are you doing up there? You're voting on stuff, we don't know what it is. So to clarify, these matters appear to be what's being voted on right now, the second, but in actuality, they represent matters that have already been voted upon during work sessions by the board. And obviously, you weren't present for that. So the vote that appears to be happening here and now is nothing more than a process to officially memorialize what the board has already voted on and acted upon, and will now be part of the written minutes of this meeting, so that it can be referred back to, so that you know what the money is being spent on. So obviously, if something costs $1,000 to repair or $2,000, I'll use a simple example. The women's locker room, tiles started coming up around the drain. A lot of you may not even have known about that. But the board voted, it's a trip hazard, we have to fix it, and obviously it gets fixed. I think it costs $1,800. So you're not going to hear everything that we spend money, but there is a threshold, usually of a few $1,000s, that you should know why we're spending the money. Okay? So I gave you a simple example of the floor is damaged, we have to fix it, it's a trip hazard. We're not waiting for a meeting. It happened on July 4th, or 5th, I believe. Okay, so now we have 4 motions that we are going to discuss now. Again, things that have essentially been acted upon, but you need to know where the money is being spent. Okay, so Mary, our first motion, and Mary, I will give the discussion for it as per Robert's rules. You can do the discussion before or after the vote. But I always think it's more important to tell you what it's about before we vote. So we're talking about a motion for the cladding project, and we've discussed this at several meetings. The cladding is that brick veneer that's on the front of the building. The cladding has failed. The cladding has failed for years. Water is infiltrating into the annex and into the clubhouse. The brick is actually falling off. There's water damage. And it is not getting any better. So the board, using the reserve funds, which is money that you have the foresight to put aside to do repairs like this, the board has voted that we are going to move forward with a cladding project. So I am looking for a motion from Mary.
I first the adoption of the motion to approve the cladding replacement on the clubhouse and annex building to be done by KP12 Enterprises Incorporated. Okay. To approve the cladding replacement on the clubhouse and annex building to be done by KP12 Enterprises Incorporation at a cost of $127,061 for the clubhouse and $18,704 for the annex, plus taxes and contingency funding of 15%. Total cost estimated $178,106. This project is scheduled for mid-September 2023.
So this is a significant expenditure that is necessary. Water is leaking into the clubhouse and the annex. Sorry to say we have to spend the money. So Mary, you did the first adoption. I'm looking for a second. Second adoption of motion by Barbara. All right, now, all those in favor on the board say aye.
Aye.
All those opposed say nay. No nays. The ayes have it. The motion passes. By the way, the company was picked from 5 different companies. There were 5 different, and we worked the price down. Okay, and it will look a little bit different. We actually have to rip out, you ready for this, 163 bushes around the building and the annex. 163, of which maybe 36 are transplantable. Sad to say that they have to get to the wall. Okay. All right, we are going to move on to a second motion. I will start the discussion. Has anyone noticed that the fountain lake has not been working? Yes. I thought so. Okay, so that fountain lake has been underwater for 16 years, has shorted out, is not repairable, sorry to say, and I am looking for a first adoption by Barbara, please.
I first the adoption of the motion to approve the installation of the Casco 5 horsepower, 240 volt, 3-phase fountain with 200 power cord and a 120 volt light system to be installed by Great Blue Incorporated at a cost of $18,066. I feel like I'm on Price is Right. Tax included. This project includes a 3-year warranty on the fountain and a 2-year warranty on the lights. Work completed July. It's not. Oh, today it's to be put in.
So it had rained yesterday. It would have been in yesterday. Now the board looks at this and says, do we really need to spend $18,000 on a fountain? Yeah, I think so. But a vote was made because you can't have one fountain and not another. Kind of looks like it's out front door. So we are going to go to vote on this adoption to replace the water fountain. So all those in favor state aye. Oh, sorry, give it a second.
I second.
All right, Carol seconds it. I'm out of order. All those in favor say aye. Any nay? No nays. The ayes have it. The motion is passed to replace the fountain. Okay, we have a third motion. Actually, there's 4. For those who don't know, last year we replaced an air conditioning unit for the gym. For those who don't know, we have 14 air conditioners that service us. 14 air conditioners. Another one has failed. Last month, a blower motor went on a different unit. Obviously, it had to be replaced. So, this is a motion, and this, I believe, second, Mary. Mary, please make the motion.
Of the motion. I first the adoption of the motion
to approve the removal and replacement of a 3.5-ton coil and condensers unit for the clubhouse HVAC system to be done by Brick Township Heating and Air Conditioning at the cost of $5,675 plus tax and permit fees. The unit will have a 5-year warranty and a 2-year warranty on parts and labor.
I second.
Okay. Barbara has seconded the motion.
All those in favor?
All those in favor say aye.
Aye.
Any opposed? None opposed, the ayes have it. The motion passes to replace the air conditioner. I'm going to say this again, 14 air conditioners. I can't wait for next year, right? Okay, so now we have a fourth motion. Carol. Oh, the
Okay.
explanation was for... Okay, all right, so this is partially old business. Last month we had mentioned about the vegetable garden and the possibility of running water to the vegetable garden. The board has decided not to run water to the vegetable garden. We decided that on our own, there's no motion for that, but we have some cleanup around that area that needs to be done. In particular, there are some really nice looking bushes that lanternflies love. We need to get rid of the bushes. And we need to clean that area up a little bit, although we're not going to run the water there. We're going to clean the area up because it's a little bit of a nice one. So, you need to make a motion.
I first the adoption of the motion to approve Toastmaster's proposal to clean up the area outside the fence of the community garden at a cost of $3,838.59, tax included. Turf Masters will clear and clean up the vegetation on the south and east sides, approximately 10 feet back, remove 3 trees on the east side, and remove 3 trees on the west side of the garden.
I second the motion.
Okay, we'll now vote on the motion. All those in favor state aye. Aye. All those opposed state no. Nay. No nays. The ayes have it. The motion is passed, and the cleanup of the garden will occur. Okay. So we're jumping around a little bit. The police took a little bit longer than I would have liked, but you know, it's good to have them here. And you know, we would rather you hear from them as opposed to hearing from the board members who may not be the experts, right? So we're now going to go into the individual reports. And that will start off with my report. So a couple of things that I normally report on. One is the pool. Our pool has been in full operation now for a while, looking pretty sharp. We recently had an inspection by the county. They come in periodically. It's actually supposed to be every year. They did not come last year due to COVID. And as usually happens, they came in and they found some things that we need to address. Some of them are simple little things like you check this box instead of this box, and others were a little bit more significant. There are some new rules. So for those who've gone to the pool, you'll see white boxes around the outside of the pool on top of the deck. And they said, well, why do we have these white boxes? There's now a requirement that the depth of the water over the side has to be not only on the side of the pool, but on the top. Okay, new rule. So we are going to be stenciling in 3 feet, 5 feet around the outdoor pool. Okay? So when you see that, that's the reason. David's actually doing it. He had the paint. We bought some stencils. I think the total job cost us $40. We did it ourselves. One of the other things that was noted was the main drains on the pool actually have an expiration date. The white thing that sucks the water in has an expiration date. It's like when they say the baby thing you put in the car has an expiration date. Now, there's a reason, and I'm not making fun of that. Everything has a reason. In this case, that white thing, God forbid someone were to step down onto that plastic cover and it cracked. They could get their foot caught, and it's also suction underneath there, sucking in the water, and someone could drown. So that has to be replaced. So these things are major things that are, we have a 30-day window. They said, here's 30 days, get these 2 things done, and the rest just fix it. So there'll be a re-inspection, I believe it's on August 11th, between the hours of 10 and 2, where the inspector will come back. And I think the pool's going very well. I want to compliment the pool committee for doing a lot of work. We managed to keep the pool open a fair amount of time, extra hours. And so far, because the committee is working out very well, and I thank everyone on the committee, and I hope everyone gets to enjoy the pool as much as possible. One of the things that just happened, just so you know, that gate over there, the electronic swipe, it burnt out the motor. Why, I don't know. So right now it's locked, we're waiting for the parts, but you swipe in as a resident, you don't have to sign in, and guests sign in, so we know who's here. But that gate right now has got a little problem. Okay, I normally report on 2 other things, and one is the fence. As it turns out, there will be a meeting on August the 2nd at 6:30 p.m. at Town Hall for the hearing for the addition of the fence on the Massachusetts and Lennox side of our development. This is a standard thing that occurs whenever you request. Some of you will receive letters to your house notifying you that we're putting a fence up, depending on where you live. Notification to the people around a 200-foot circle from each lot, and it's not your lot, it's a big lot. So if you get a notice in the mail, this is part of the process. In addition, there will be a posting, I believe it's in the Asbury Park Press, that has to be done. But the meeting will occur on August the 2nd at 6:30 p.m. Once that hearing has been held, an approval is given or not, and even if an approval is given, there is a moratorium wait time of 3 to 4 weeks before you can act on it. August 2nd plus 3 or 4 weeks. Okay, got that. And then the fencing has to be ordered, which takes about 3 to 4 weeks. Okay. And then it takes approximately 4 to 6 weeks to install. So that is the tentative timeline for the fence project. Because, we've had many questions about that. It's a process. The last thing that I normally report on is the gym committee. The gym committee has done some good work. They're not spending any major money. One piece of equipment was purchased. Another recommendation is coming in to replace the upright bike, which might be, I'm going to make up a number, I don't know the exact number, $3,000. That doesn't mean we're doing it, it's just something we're always looking to replace that equipment that is problematic. This particular piece of equipment is old, the seat's ripped, it's rickety, so that you may hear more about that before the end of the year. So there may be we're looking to, just enhance things that are broken. And that is the end of my report, and now I'm going to turn it over to Barbara for the Vice President's report.
Estate sales are permitted on Fridays and Saturdays from 9 a.m. to 1 p.m. You must put your request in at least 7 days before the date you want it at the HOA office. If you are not on the list for the date, you will not be able to have the estate sale, and the guardhouse will be informed. Lake Ridge Advocates. When a homeowner has a question or concern about anything in this HOA, they should call the office, speak with Ray, our property manager, ask any chairperson or committee person, and they will direct you to the right person who can answer your question or concern, or you can ask a board member. These are the only people that can give you a direct and informed answer, and if they don't, they will find it out and get back to you. Our bylaws do not provide for a position that is called a homeowner's advocate. ARC, painting and house color violations at Lake Ridge. Due to COVID, there was a lack of follow-up in maintenance and ARC standards within our community. To date, there are 39 paint violations. If you are in violation, you will be getting a courtesy letter with a 2-month grace period. If the issues are not completed by September 19, 2023, you will receive another violation notice informing that a $25 per day fine is in effect and charged to your HOA account. You must first fill out an application from ARC. An ARC committee person will meet you at your home and give you the guidelines for painting your garage, shutters, trim, and front door. You will display the permit in your front window until the job is completed and inspected by the ARC committee person. Any questions, ask Phil. That's it.
Is he here?
Is he here? Hi, Phil. It has been arranged that you can get the required paint colors from Riccardi Brothers on Route 37 in Toms River at a discounted price. Go to the HOA office, ask to see the samples, fill out the form with the color code number, and take that with you to the store. Your discount also includes interior paints and other paints and some supplies. Riccardi Brothers can match all Sherwin-Williams paint colors. They will also deliver to your home. Any questions? Ask me. Not Bill.
Okay, so that's it.
That's fine.
Sorry. All right, so that concludes the Vice President's report, and Ed Whitman is not here, and we will move on. Mary, you're going to give the Treasurer's report now.
Okay, for the 6 months ending June 30th, 2023, our net income of $135,843 was $87,429 better than our budget. The principal factor that contributed to the favorable variance were our income was $54,064 better than budget. The surplus carryover from 2022 was $45,945 better. Income, oh, this one you're gonna like. Interest income was $7,183 better than budget due to improving interest rates. Finally. Closing contributions on home resales, $3,800 was better than budget. We budgeted for 23 homes, but actually sold 25. Our expenses were $33,364 better than our budget of $1,172,000. While we had some actual timing variances in several accounts, as they tend to net out, the major categories under budget, again, snow removal. We didn't have any snow this year, yay. So that gave us $45,000. Balance sheet. As of June 30th, 2023, our cash and investment funds total approximately $3.2 million, most of which is in the replacement fund, which has a balance of approximately $2.4 million. The funds held in the replacement funds are invested in CDs, insured by the FDIC, U.S. Treasury notes, and money market funds. And some funds are held in cash. Thank you.
I have one thing. I have some forms here for the paint, if you're interested in picking one up for any future paint jobs.
All right, thank you, Mary. And now we're going to go to Carol for the Director at Large report. Carol?
Over here. Okay, as Director at Large, I have no specific office. you know, like a secretary or treasurer, you know what's assumed what they will do. But I do have equal voting rights. I'm liaison to various committees, and I'm involved in different activities. Recently, I participated in the office hours of the board, where concerned residents can meet one-on-one the first Friday of the month by appointment. One of those concerns was about dogs, as there are people who are afraid of dogs. The rule on pets is that all dogs must be on a 6-foot lead for obvious reasons. You have control of a dog on a 6-foot lead. You do not on an extended lead. Also, curb your dog. That means, curbing means between the sidewalk and the street. And always be courteous and pick up after your dog. I'm liaison for the Documents and Policies Committee, being the new member of the board. I am, I'm in on the tail end of that, for they've been updating the bylaws and policies for months now, and I've put in a lot of hours. Our lawyer's review came through the week of July 10th, and now we are checking line by line. It's a long process, you know, and it goes from that committee to the board and eventually to the residents. Regarding the fencing project, I went out to the Whitesville side of Lenox and saw all the trees. Everyone has their patio facing the trees. They've got a lovely breeze. But I'm told no trees will be cut down when the fencing goes up regarding security. Next, the new bereavement support group starts this coming Thursday. It's in the annex from 11 to noon, and this one is for widows. Future ones will be if you've lost a child, or also for widowers. All right, that's my report.
Okay, we will now go to Ray's report, the manager's report.
Good morning, everybody. Just to give you some updates on what's going on, 2326 East Ashfield, I know everybody's familiar with that residence. It is a HUD-owned home. We finally got the maintenance crew from HUD to come out the middle of May to do some vegetation work out there, do some trimming of the shrubs, and it was noted that there's other work to be done. Basically, we have that dead tree up in front that has to be removed. There's some broken windows, power washing, make it look a little bit more attractive as it is the first home you see when you drive in. The maintenance crew had to go back to HUD to get permission to remove the tree and any extra work that they needed to put in as it is authorized by HUD. Several calls have gone into Jessica of HUD, and we have not heard back from her yet, but we continue to go on a weekly basis to get a hold of her to see where we are with those repairs. So it's not just sitting there, we are monitoring its progress. Irrigation repairs, we talked about last month, I believe we talked about the irrigation and the usage in the community. It is monitored. There's a certain amount of gallons to be used by the community per month. It is reported to the state DEP, and while we were getting bids on some of the repairs to be done to the 8 wells, there was one well repair done last year, the other 7 needed work to be done. The well right out here in front of the clubhouse was continually running. We were losing water through that, and we had the contractor out the end of last week, beginning of this week, to do repair on that well. That was $2,250, so it really wasn't that extravagant based on what their determination was. It was a pretty easy repair. So hopefully that'll keep our water consumption down and help out the community. Again, the fountain lights were already reported on. They were supposed to start yesterday. They have the equipment, but the rain was there. We couldn't get the electrician to work, so they're supposed to start today. They figure it's only gonna be a one-day project. We'll keep an eye on it. We have power washing, the wooden fence lines, and the guardrails. We had proposals come in late May. We went back out again for revised proposals because the 5 different companies were all over the place. We condensed the proposal to apples, and it's going to the board for review and discussion. The retaining walls is another problem. Using the reserve study that was done, the retaining walls in the community, there's 7,000 square feet, and they still have 10 years of useful life remaining. Unfortunately, nobody told some of these retaining walls, so we're going to have contractors go out. We're going to start looking at what we could do to repair. Mostly it might be 1 or 2 pieces here and there, but we'll do a study, get some proposals, and see where we go with that repair as well. The clubhouse HVAC repairs, as Mike had mentioned and was approved, we did go out to 2 different companies, both that have experience in working in this clubhouse for the condenser. Brick Heating did come in at a better price. They have been working out here as of late, and they will also be coming in next week. There is a broken condenser pan up in the ceiling right in front of the lobby here. They're going to come in and do that repair at a minimal cost. However, it's a 2-man job, and they're going to have to shut down the air conditioning in that area for 24 hours while they do the repair. Once I get their schedule, we'll work it out with activities to make sure that nothing's interrupted while that repair is going on. Outdoor pool health inspections were talked about, but again, the office purchased and installed a new AED box that was mentioned last meeting. The AED equipment is now permanently assigned outside with the pool. David and I have been getting requests and emails regarding bocce and tennis court repairs. We've been out looking at it, working with the sports activities personnel and the clubs out there. We are collecting proposals for supplies, railings, etc., ground cover repairs. We're looking at some maintenance to be done around the tennis courts as far as erosion and debris getting onto the courts. So that's in progress. Your clubs and committees out there are doing a great job keeping an eye on it. We just have to find somebody who's going to do the job at a reasonable price. Yesterday, there was a little, I'm not going to say incident. We had some misunderstanding at the office here, and I just wanted to clear it out regarding lights out, street lights out in the community. It happens a lot, and people have been following the right procedures. They put in the concern sheet. They're giving us the location. They're giving us the poll number, and the office is immediately sending the work orders into JCP&L. However, JCP&L has been slow to respond either to emails or to come out and make these repairs. Significantly, we have 5 out in the area, 2 on Dillon Court, 1 on Clear Lake Boulevard, 1 on Ridgemount Court, 1 at Clear Lake and Fieldcrest. They've been reported JCP&L from June 13th up until Monday, and we haven't heard anything back. Some residents have come up and get a little animated with Fran and Alyssa there. They're doing the work, they're doing what they're supposed to do, we're following up. But also last night we put in a complaint to the New Jersey Board of Utilities. Not only have the repairs not been made or looked at, we haven't gotten any response. So that's all we ask is if you got a light out, a street light, it is a safety issue. We do stress that with JCP&L. Get it, put the concern sheet, get us the location, the poll number, we'll get it in as soon as possible, and we'll keep on to get these repairs done. Just to follow up on pen complaints, there was an incident yesterday where a gentleman was walking along Clear Lake. Another resident was coming down with their dog, and the dog was probably very friendly, maybe a little amorous, and jumped up on the resident, scratched his arms pretty good. He wasn't amused. So along with the 6-foot tether, if you're walking your dogs and people are walking the opposite way or close to you, pay attention to your dog, the dog's behavior. If the dog may be, may be friendly, but to somebody else it may seem aggressive. There were no charges, no formal complaint, but the gentleman was pretty upset. We just want to stress that out there. Building cladding, just one, we talked about it. We had 5 companies originally. The board whittled it down to 2. And we had one of those 2 companies come again and based on some extra work the board had completed. I asked again this month for questions to the board. If anybody couldn't attend the board meeting, I did not get a question, but I got a comment that KPI2, who was approved, is one of the more expensive companies out there. In this incident, no, they're not. And they're a very reputable contractor. They've been in business for well over 30 years. They were put up against 5 of the better quality contractors in the area who bid on this, and they did their homework, and they promised to do a good job. So maybe this resident had some previous experience with this contractor, but not in this instance. Which brings us, brings us to the elephant in the room. Last month, we had a discussion. There was a question that came in regarding a resident who displayed the American flag on their property upside down. Again, that is a national signal of distress. And in checking with the attorney and with rulings, that's not illegal. That's a person's right to free speech and they can do it. However, we've received a lot of complaints from residents in here, and being a veteran myself, I've talked to a lot of veterans in this community who are equally upset. The resident was approached by previous boards and previous management to discuss the incident, their concerns, see if there can be any common ground found. Mike Messina, having just been elected as president, and I, as your new property manager, wanted to make our intentions known, or just meet with this person as we do. We don't have a history with the person, find out what the reasoning was, if any common ground, again, could be found. The person was asked twice if they would come in and talk to us, and had refused. I in turn received a 5-page letter, 2 with some information on there, that, again, she firmly believes it. Some people may think it's radical, some people will probably agree with it. But we had told her if she did not want to come and discuss, she feels she's in her right, which she is, that we cannot force her. However, since the question was brought up in an open forum, that these responses and the update on this would be brought out to the residents here in the community. We reached out as early as yesterday with a written request. That again was turned down by email. Never spoken personally. Everything's been through email. And what I'd like to say is that she had, in her words, I've attempted to provide you and others with information in my correspondence that they can see and learn if they so choose. You may agree with it, you may not. But in my mind, that's offering to people who are interested in this person's views or what they feel is their right to display the flag in that way. You can let me know and we can review the information there. But as of now, and we'll continue to see if we can talk to this person. We even went so far as you can honor your free speech. Wouldn't it make some of your neighbors feel better if you reverse the flag on holidays such as the 4th of July, Memorial Day, Veterans Day, days where that flag is very important, and we received no response to it. I'll continue to reach out, Mike will continue to reach out, but in the meantime, we wanted to give you an update on the concern. And that's it.
motion to complete the business portion of the meeting?
I second it.
All those in favor? All those opposed? Oh, okay. I just got shown a sign about trunk or treat. So, well, maybe you can look at that after, but, the motion to end the business portion of this meeting has been voted upon. The ayes have it. There are no nays. The meeting is now officially closed. We will now go to the question and answer